Mr. Klein outlines 3 missing pieces of information needed to assess the effect on households by how much the child credit will increase, which income groups can claim these credits, and what the income cutoffs are for the new tax brackets. Without more details, it's impossible to say how middle-class families would make out, he writes. Read more. Ms. Ratliff is a member of a group called the Patriotic Millionaires, whose website describes its members as high-net-worth Americans, business leaders, and investors who are united in their concern about the destabilizing concentration of wealth and power in America. She argues that millionaires like herself don't deserve another tax break in this time of staggering inequality. One key to fighting inequality is a progressive tax system that includes the estate tax that Mr. Trump's plan eliminates. Read more. Mr. Hanlon served as a special assistant to President Barack Obama for economic policy at the White House National Economic Council. He explains how Mr. Trump's proposal to cut the tax rate for pass-through corporations would be a financial boon for Mr. Trump himself. Through the Trump Organization, Trump owns more than 500 pass-through business entities, he writes. His new loophole would slash the tax rate on the profits from these entities by more than a third. Read more. You need to appreciate the distinction between tax cuts and tax reform. Believe me, that's not just semantics. And part of the story is a big, portentous hole in the Democrats' agenda. Progressives do not have a good, crisp, resonant answer to the question, what's your great idea for reforming the tax system? Tax reform, Mr. Bernstein reminds his readers, has come to connote something positive, closing loopholes, cutting tax rates and broadening the tax base. What the Republicans are pushing for, however, are tax cuts, not reform. Real tax reform, he argues, must offset, not exacerbate, market-driven inequalities, and it must raise the necessary revenue to meet the many challenges we face. And, in the spirit of offering a good, crisp, resonant answer to the problem of tax reform, Mr. Bernstein outlines a progressive tax reform plan that includes eliminating wasteful tax expenditures and adding a minimum tax on foreign earnings. Read more. Mr. explains why the pass-through tax cut is a boondoggle. He argues that there's an admirable elegance to running everything through the personal income tax code. That elegance is sullied by subjecting pass-through owners to a different, lower tax rate than that of the corporate tax. Read more. The members of USA Today's editorial board are concerned about 2 aspects of Mr. Trump's tax proposal. First is the additional debt, by some estimates more than $2 trillion, incurred by an economy that doesn't need the sort of borrowing-fueled fiscal stimulus. The second, and most egregious provision of the plan, is an end to the estate tax. They ask, why should inherited wealth receive a more privileged status than wealth accumulated through work or entrepreneurship? Read more. Want the partisan writing roundup in your inbox? Sign up for the Morning Briefing newsletter or the What We're Reading newsletter.